Hello friends, welcome to the Cool Vedas. That's Vedas Cool. Today's story is from Sambhava Parva in Adi Parva. Today we're going to see the story of King Dushmanta, more famously called as Dushyanta, the founder of the Paurava dynasty. Let's get on. In the deep Naimisharanya, Sauti continued narrating the glorious Mahabharata to Shaunaka and the other sages. He said, O Shaunaka, after hearing the stories of the incarnation of Devas and Asuras on Bhumi, Janamejaya had expressed his desire to know about the Kuru dynasty from the very beginning, and also about the life of Bharata and his famed mother Shakuntala. Yielding to Janamajaya's request, Vaishampayana, during one of the intervals of Sarpayaga, had began narrating the story of Dushmanta, the founder of Paurava race, and his wife Shakuntala. The story goes like this. Long, long ago, there lived a great king named Dushmanta. He founded the great Paurava dynasty. Dushmanta was a very strong ruler who ruled the earth bound by four oceans, and many a land in the midst of waters too was under his control. His kingdom was so large that he had a say even in the countries of the Mlechas. During his rule, his subjects lived a very virtuous life. There were no thieves in his kingdom. There was no famine, nor was there any diseases. All the Chaturvarnas found pleasure in doing their respective duties virtuously, and as a result, even the heavens showered their blessings at the proper time and place as rain. This youthful monarch was very skilled in administration and also warfare. He was skilled in four types of Gada Yuddha and also in the use of all other weapons. He was skilled in riding a horse and an elephant alike. In strength, he was like Vishnu. In splendor, he was like Surya. And in patience, he was like Bhumi. This young king, Dushmanta, was loved by all his subjects, and he, on his part, ruled his people very virtuously. One fine day, Dushmanta decided to go on an hunting expedition. He, along with his huge army, with hundreds of horses, elephants, cavalry, foot soldiers, and chariots, set out to the forests. Seeing their king with his army, the ladies from the terraces of the beautiful mansions said, This is Indra himself. He has the power of Vasus, in front of whom no enemy can survive. Saying thus, they lovingly showered flowers on their young monarch. The king, Dushmanta, being very glad, hearing even the blessings uttered by the Brahmanas following him, set out to the deep forest. As the king neared the forest, he commanded all his subjects and the Brahmanas following him to return. And then he, along with his army, entered the dense dark woods which extended many, many yojanas. He saw that this dark forest was without water, without humans, and full of terrifying beasts and huge dark trees. The mighty brave king, along with his men, rampaged the forest. He killed numerous lions, tigers, elephants, and such other beasts. Many elephants, maddened by fear of the king, ran amok the soldiers and trampled many of them. As the king and his men rampaged the forest, the lions began to desert it in great numbers. And herds of animals, deprived of their leaders, from fear and anxiety, began to utter loud cries as they fled in all directions. And that forest, which had been full of animals, was by the king with his band of followers and with sharp weapons soon made empty of lions and tigers and other wild beasts. Having killed thousands of animals, the king now, with his dwindled men, entered another forest with a view of hunting more. He came upon a huge desert in the frontier of that forest. Having crossed this desert, the king reached the beautiful forest, which was just as the gardens of the Gandharva Chitraratha. This forest was full of magnificent trees which had blossomed with sweet scented flowers and fruits. Beautiful singing birds filled the air with the musical voice. The king was very charmed by the beauty of nature around him. The king saw that a river named Malini flowed through this forest, and the forest was home not only to Siddhas, Charanas, Gandharvas, Apsaras, but also to great ascetic men. In this forest, he saw Kashyapa's ashram on the banks of river Malini. It was home to many great munis. He could hear from one side the mantras of Rigveda being chanted, while on the other side he could hear the hymns of Yajurveda. A little further, he could hear the hymns of Samaveda. Similarly, from another ashram, he heard the Atharva Veda mantras being chanted. He saw that around him the rishis taught different subjects like grammar, nirukti, prosody, astrology, matters of moksha, dharma, krama, japa, homa, vada, and such numerous sciences were taught in those ashrams. The more the king saw this mesmerizing sight, the more he wanted to see. The young monarch, along with his minister and priest, entered Kashyapa's hermitage. As he proceeded, he even left the minister and the priest behind and reached the doors of the great Rishi Kanva, who was the one in charge of the ashrama presently. The king alone peered at the door, and finding it empty, he loudly asked, "Hello, who is there? Anybody home?" Hearing the king's voice, out came a beautiful maiden from the ashram who looked just like Shri herself. This beautiful lady respectfully welcomed the king and gave him water to wash his feet, gave him a seat, and treated him with food and water. After making him comfortable thus, she asked, "What is it, O king, you ask for? I wait for your command." The king sweetly replied, "I came here wishing to meet the illustrious Kanva Rishi. Where has he gone? Can I meet him?" The beautiful maiden then replied, "My father has gone out to fetch fruits. Please wait for a few moments. He will be back soon." The king, not seeing the rishi and having been mesmerized by the lady's sweet speech and beauty, said, "Who are you? And whose daughter are you, O beautiful one? How come you are here in the woods? You are so beautiful that at the very first glance you stole my heart. I desire to know more about you. Please tell me, where do you come from?" The maiden then smilingly replied, "O Dushmanta, I am Sakuntala, the daughter of the great virtuous Kanva Rishi." Dushmanta, surprised hearing this, asked, "O beautiful, I know that the Rishi Kanva is a strict brahmachari. Dharma himself might fall from his course, but a brahmachari will never waver. Then how can you be his daughter? Please tell me about your birth." To this, Shakuntala replied, "O Dushmanta, once a rishi came here and asked my father the same question as yours. All that my father told him then, I'll repeat to you now. Thus, Shakuntala began narrating the story of her birth. Now, who are Shakuntala's real parents? Let's find out. Please like, share, and subscribe our channel for more Mahabharata stories. Do not forget to press the bell icon. Thank you. Namaste.